Okay, 22. Just make sure you don't talk when I'm talking, otherwise I can't concentrate. Okay, look up, come on. Okay, 22. The concepts that you must use to solve this problem are, how do I say this? It's a really common concept that has to be used on the multiple choice as well as the written section. So there's a flashcard that you should be remembering as you read this problem. So they give you a piecewise function, then it says, if f is differentiable and x equal 2, what are the values of c and d? That statement, f is differentiable and x equal 2, you must, on the written section, Abby, you can't talk when I talk, it messes me up. On the written section, you have to see this flashcard. If you don't recall this flashcard, you won't get any points on the written section if they have a question that's kind of like this. That one right there. So in the other problem, when you read the words f is differentiable at x equal 2, on the written section, if you don't have this flashcard memorized, you will not get any points. Like, they won't give you points for solving it, you have to use the right notation. So even though this is multiple choice, I feel like it's that important that you should make sure you're following this. So a few people are writing things down, so wait just a minute. Okay, so back to the problem. Because I remembered that flashcard, I'm going to write that down. I'm going to say the limit as x approaches 2 from the left of f. Oh, caution. I've seen a lot of people doing this. A lot of people are not writing anything here. Okay? That's equivalent to asking me to do this. Like, please raise your hand if you know exactly what goes in these blanks. Like, exactly. Not like an example, like exactly what goes in these blanks. 2 points for the whole room. My point is, look, if you don't have anything here, there's no way to know what goes here. It's impossible. You can't find the limit of nothing. So we're finding the limit of f. So now, whole room, what goes here now? Hands, what goes here? Talk to each other, we gotta get more hands. Hands up, who knows? Come on. What is the limit of f as x gets close to 2 from the left? And Abby, what is it?
Cx plus d, or you could plug in 2 for x, because, or like 2 for the left. So 2 is left, c plus d.
Well said, Abby, well said. And limit, here's the part that's sometimes a little weird. Even though you should be thinking, just like Abby is, that the x-coordinates is a little bit less than 2. Limit means what are you getting infinitesimally close to becoming. So the limit really is 2c plus d. on an AP test, you'd never want to put like a 2 minus here, because the limit means what are we getting close to? How many knew it? 2 points, 3 for Abby. They want me to talk about it? So I'm just following my flashcard now. Flashcard said this has to be the same as this. So hands up, what's that? That's the easy one. This is not calculus. Plug and chug, as people say. That must be an old-fashioned statement that teachers don't use anymore. Like when I was going through school, everybody said that. Like, oh yeah, plug and chug. Like a machine, you know. I don't know. Kennedy.
Is it the same as it says 2C plus D?
How many knew it? Point 2 for Kennedy. Hands up. What's that? Marin's in, Marin's out. Marin's in, Marin's out. Marin, what do you got?
Is it 2 squared minus C times 2? Okay.
Well done. Well done. How many knew it? 2 points, 3 for Mary. Hold on. So y'all picked up on the purpose of this, right? Like, so it's something. It's like, look, it's like, to me, it's when something happens that I really do need to give. I want you to pay extra close attention. Okay. Whenever I do a brand new AP problem, one that I've never done before, okay, the feeling I have as I work the problem is exactly the feeling Marin was having as she's working this, which is her brain's telling her, hey, I'm not violating any rules, I'm following the concepts, I'm not just making stuff up, but I still feel a little uncertain because I have no way to check it. Is that fair? Yeah, she's like, I'm pretty sure this makes sense to me. Look, get used to that feeling. Okay? In my work for 15 years, every time I do an AP test question, I always have that feeling. So I was like, well, I'm pretty sure, because I know I'm following the rules, I'm not violating, I'm not making stuff up. But until you have some way to check it, it's always going to feel like that. It's why so many people will come back after the AP test, and they'll, like, true story. Mrs. Summers knows I tell this story. I didn't take the AP test in high school because it was not offered. So I went to a really small school, they didn't have AP calculus. So I had to wait until I got to BYU. But she took it at her high school, and she specifically remembers working hard all year long, feeling like she was prepared. She goes in to take the test. She says she came back to her teacher like in tears. She's like, I failed you. Like, I don't think I even got a 3. Like, it was just so different and so weird and hard. I don't think I even got a 3. She got a 5. Okay. And the most important thing is, it's not unique to her. Like, I've seen it happen over and over again with many students. That's just how they make you feel. So, look, so get used to it and then just do what Marin did. Just say, no, I'm not going to make stuff up. I'm going to use the right concepts and just keep moving. Just hope for the best. And you'll be really surprised. Did we good to hear? So, why is this helpful? Hands up, come on. Why is this helpful? What can I do with this information now? Why did we go to all that trouble? So Sarah?
Because they're all 18.
They have to be the same, so we can write an equation now that says 2c plus d must equal 4 minus 2c. So again, I remind you, notation is key, the equal sign is key. You shouldn't be writing much on the board if it's not an equation. So once in a while, but usually we got to have an equation. Okay, this is something I was told all the time growing up as well. One equation, 2 unknowns, you can't usually solve it. One equation with 2 unknowns, you can't usually solve it. You have to know one of the 2. So this is a bit of a dead end. So that's when I remembered the flashcard. I'm like, oh yeah, I not only want to find the limit of f, I want to find what's happening with f prime. So I need to create an equation for f prime now. Okay, this idea is super simple. So if it feels complex, please raise your hand and talk with me until I can get to where you will feel like it's simple. There is really only one difference between a piecewise function and a function that looks like this. Like this, here we go. So please raise your hand if you can tell me. What is the only difference between a piecewise function, this, and a function like that? What's the only difference? Oh, a tough question. Hardly any hands. It's really very simple. What is the only difference between piecewise versus the other? Sorry.
The piecewise function has two different equations for each side. Like when the bottom is for x is more than 2, and then the top is when x is less than 2, and the other one is for every
Perfect. 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 To me, visualizing the graph is easiest. If this is a graph, if this is x equal 2, well, I use that formula to find all those y coordinates. And if this is x equal 2, I'm going to use this formula to find all of these y coordinates. How many knew it? 0.2 for Tori. Okay. And as Tori said over here, this formula, just use that to find x and y for everywhere. It's the only difference. If you start with this formula and you take a derivative, you get this formula. You get f prime of x is equal to 3x squared plus 1. What is that? Hands, come on. What is that? What is that? Like, you can't just do the work. You got to know what it means. So what is that? Let's go, Sophie.
That's a formula to find any slope along the graph of that.
Perfect. You knew it. 0.2 for Sophie. So here's my equation for finding every coordinate pair on f. If I take the derivative of this equation, I create a new equation for finding every slope on f. Well, with the piecewise, it's not that much different. So what do I write here when I'm trying to find the derivative of this f? Hence, what gets written here? That?
So you see for x is less than 2, and then 2x minus c for x is greater than 2.
To be honest, raise your hand if you're really comfortable with that. Who's really comfortable with it? It's about half the room. The rest of it, so hands down. So those who are not comfortable, you got to talk. I can't figure out what's bothering you.
So you just said x is less than 2. Why did you not do this equal to?
Hold on. Okay. Good sound effect. Listen, hey. Everybody look up. Come on, look. Okay. I do that on purpose because I don't want you losing points on the test, because there will be problems every once in a while where when you take a derivative of a piecewise function where you cannot put the equal sign. Like, it's inherent in piecewise functions that it's not always possible to have an equal. So until I have a reason that allows me to put the equal sign, I don't. So this is a formula for finding all the tangent slopes of this, right? So if I put an equal here, I'm saying that the tangent slope of f at an x coordinate of 2, that tangent slope will have a value of c. If this piecewise function has a corner, this is false. Because if a piecewise function has a corner, you can't find the slope at the corner. So f prime of 2 would be undefined. So that's why I'm extra careful. That's why I paid Elena a full ticket I'm extra careful about putting this equal sign until I have some evidence that I can put the equal sign. So some of you, I think, can see the evidence. So is the equal sign allowed or not allowed? So Ashley.
Is it allowed because we know that the function has to be differentiable?
It's perfect. So f being differentiable means I can find the derivative of f. So if f is differentiable at 2, that means there's all kinds of congratulations. If I can find the derivative at 2, f is differentiable. So I can put the equal sign on this problem, but I'm trying to get you to develop the habit of not putting the equal sign until you're like, oh, there's a reason why I can. How many knew that? Point B for Ashley. So that's the derivative. I still felt like there were a lot of people who were uncomfortable. So I answered Elena's question about that. Who else is still uncomfortable about getting from here to here? Like, you just have to talk and tell me what's bothering you. Like, why it doesn't make sense. What I'm trying to say is, to me, it's super simple. If you have an equation for f, and you take the derivative of that equation, you get an equation for f prime. Well, with a piecewise function, you just have two equations for f. So to find the derivative, you've got to find two different equations for f prime. It just follows the same pattern. Maybe this is bothering people. Raise your hand if the C and the D are bothered. Like getting from here to here, who's bothered by the C and the D? Just wave at me. Do this. Whole class. If you're trying to find the derivative of 7x plus 5, please raise your hand if you know what goes here. Come on, everybody, come on. What's the derivative of 7x plus 5? Let's go, Sarah. 7. How many knew it? 2 points, 3 for Sarah. This is no different. C is simply a constant. D is also a constant. So I just made up an example that fits. So when I take the derivative of cx plus d, it's no different than taking the derivative of 7x plus 5. That's why the derivative was simply c. Right here. It's minor.
So the only reason you can do that is because it specifically tells you that C and D are constants?
And on the AP test, I believe at the very beginning of the test, they actually have a statement that says something like 8, and unless otherwise noted, B, C, D, A, K, those are all constants. Anybody else? So now we have this, we can do this analysis again. So we say the limit hands up, come on, what goes there? Hand. What do I write here? Let's go, Justin. How many knew it? 2 points, 3 for Justin. Hands. Let's go, Aislinn. Who agreed? 2 points, 3 for Aisley. Hands. Let's go, Koji.
2x minus c.
Close. Right idea, but you got to think about what limit means. So limit means when the x-coordinate is really close to this value, what will this value be? Or what will this value be infinitely close to?
Would it just be the 2x?
No, you're okay. 2 points though. Let's go, Ashley.
4 minus
Yeah, we've got to think of the x value as being really close to 2, not x. So really close, this is going to be really close to 4, so this should be 4 minus c. How many knew it? 2 points. Okay. Question? How does that help? Ken, come on. How does that help? Charles,
You figure out what those equal to each other.
tell me what to write.
C equals 4 minus C.
Keep going.
And then, so, C, two, C, 4, divided by 2,
2 points for Charles. Question. Now what? Let's go, Ashley.
So since we know that C equals 2, can we plug it into, what was the other? Oh, 2C plus D equals 4 minus 2C and solve for B.
There we go. How many knew it? 0.2 for Ashley. You want to talk about anything? Okay, the concepts from this problem that will show up on the test for sure are the flashcard I showed you. Like, you'll get tested on that, I guarantee it. So you have to have that memorized. You'll get tested on finding limits. So you have to be able to find limits like we did. And then after that, it's you being able to keep track of the equal sign and how to use it properly. So, question? Cool.